guys, welcome back to another video and back to my series on brand favorites. I went a little longer than I expected between videos. I only have one so far in this series, and that was my China Glaze video. I'll link that up here. I did the same thing with my color series where I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a series. I did the first one and then it's just like 2 months later, here you go, here's the second installment. So many videos flooded, so many different reviews, and then I missed a couple days here and there of posting just because I've been so busy. But I think we're kind of back on track, and now I'm back to posting every Tuesday, Saturday. So the reason why I do these videos, or why I wanted to do this like particularly brand's favorite video, is because I used to watch a ton of brand's favorites when I was first getting into nail polish. And I loved seeing people who had like massive collections from particular brands talk about their favorite polishes from those particular brands. Because the reason why I like, one brand versus another is not for like the same type of polishes. Like there are brands that I'm like, their creams are the best. I don't really care about anything else. And there are brands where I'm like, why would I ever buy a cream from them? Because they're, fun finishes or they're like special effects finishes and stuff like that are really where it's at. So it's like each brand kind of has their own wheelhouse. And so that's why I want to show off from some of my larger pockets in my collection, my favorite polishes from those brands. And I like to try to stick around like 10 just because I feel like that's a good number. So today we're doing my top 10 favorite Zoyas. Now I currently have, I think, 131 Zoya nail polishes. Ooh, I don't know. Saying that number out loud is kind of weird. Even though I'm like, yeah, I have over 1,000 nail polishes in my collection. Saying you have like 131 of like the one brand, I don't know. I'm just like, ugh, that's a lot, right? So this is one that I never really thought that I would have gotten into because there was something about like the way the bottle looks and just my initial impression of the brand that really just held me back from buying from them. I thought that they were like, more like adult oriented polishes. So when I first got into nail polish when I was like 22 or 23, I was just kind of like, no, those are for like mature people. Like I'm still a child. And I don't know why I had that impression of the brand. I don't know what it was that gave me that feeling that held me back from purchasing initially. But I'm glad that I did because I totally misjudged the brand. Like, yeah, they do have a lot more like wearable colors for your everyday life, especially if you're like in business or like, working in an office or something where you can't do anything too crazy, but they also have a ton of fun stuff. And that's kind of, I have a mix of both in my favorites over here. Now, I haven't purchased anything from Zoya since the price raise, and since I bought the neons, but they used to be $10 a piece. Now they're 12. However, I don't think I've ever bought a full price Zoya in my life because they have sales constantly. I'm talking like 50% off everything, so it's like really, I spent $5 a piece on most of these. And a lot of them I got for free too, because sometimes they do like add-on gifts. If you spend like X amount, they'll give you a whole collection for free. So they have a ton of good sales, a ton of good deals, and I do feel like the quality is really up there. So if you're interested in Zoya but you haven't purchased any, I'd say just sign up for their newsletter, wait for a sale, and just bite the bullet because these are really high quality nail polishes. So I'm going to show everything. I have my little swatch wheel here. I'm going to give you close-ups as I talk about each polish, and we're just going to go through them one by one. So the first polish that I'd be crazy not to include on my favorites, it's probably the most boring, but it's Zoya Jill. And you can see I have made a really massive dent in this. I've talked about this many times, but this was my job interview color. So when I first graduated from college, I already had a job lined up and I went abroad and I worked there for a little while, and then I came back and I realized finding a job is not as easy as it had been for me in the past. And so, especially with just my degree and stuff like that, like I majored in a language which is only spoken in one country. So it's harder to find a job when you have those types of qualifications. So I ended up looking for a long time, and I, had interviews constantly, and I was getting jobs, but like they weren't really good offers. And so it was about a year before I had landed, the job that I had at that point. But without fail, I took off whatever I was wearing the night before, because I worked at a daycare and I could wear whatever I wanted. And I put this on my nails, and I went to my job interview wearing Jill. And so like this one, I haven't worn it in a long time because I haven't needed it. Well, I guess I did have one job interview because I got laid off. But this is just my go-to interview color. And so I would be crazy to not put this on the list because, it was one of the only like more nude tones for my skin tone that I had when I first started interviewing. Because when I first started buying nail polish, I was like, why would I buy the boring colors? I only want fun stuff. And so this was really the only one I had. I don't even remember why I bought it. And now it's just kind of like when I think of like more professional settings or like a place where I can't wear anything too crazy, this one is like literally forefront of my mind. So the next Zoya favorite of mine is actually Eunice. Now, you've probably heard me, if you watch a lot of my videos, talk about this one a ton. It is gonna be more than likely in my favorite greens video when I get to that in my color favorites, just because this one really opened a weird like floodgate in me as far as like hideous greens go. This came out in the holiday collection last winter, I believe. And I remember when I first saw the holiday collection, I was just like, that is so out of place. Why is that there? Like, what is the deal with that? And so I was placing an order for one of their typical sales, and I think I just needed like one more or something. I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's throw this in there. I want to see what it's about. And so I got it in the mail, and the second I swatched it out, I was like, oh, wait a minute. And so then I put it on my nails, and I was like, oh, okay, I see where you're coming from. I love this polish. I don't know what it is. This green is just gross. It's sickly. It's like, I don't know. There's something about it. And on my skin tone, because if you can't tell, I'm not wearing like foundation or anything, like I have really a lot of rosiness in my face. It's just, I don't know. It's just how I've always been. And, that's true through like my hands and stuff like that too. So this polish really brings out that pink in my skin tone, and it just looks bad. Like, it's like, when you work out or you like do a lot of like physical activity and you kind of get like pink and like sweaty and stuff like that, it just makes you look like that all the time. And so it's not a cute look. And if you have like more like orangey red hair, like I think like my dad is a redhead, and I had a coworker at the time who was also a redhead, and they both had like really pink, like pinker than me, like tones running through their skin. Like this would look so good with their hair and so bad with their skin. Like, so it's just one of those polishes that I think this is very love it or hate it kind of a thing, but it opened up this whole love of these like weird kind of swampy or gross or like unusual greens. And I have another one over here from Zoya. I've been ordering them like crazy. After I got this, I won a giveaway from Cork Manicures for the Moonshine Manny's Build Me Up Buttercup, and like that really just kind of sealed the deal. And now it's like every brand I'm looking for greens from them. And I had a few greens, like I wasn't as green obsessed until just holiday last year. So thanks, Eunice. Up next is Tommy. This is just kind of a very plain, like dusty, kind of gray leaning blue. Now, at the beginning of collecting nail polish, I didn't think that I really cared about the color blue. And then when I finally started making my spreadsheet, I realized like blue was at one point the biggest color in my collection somehow. Even though my favorite color is purple, blue has always remained one of those that just really dominates my collection. And I'm not sure what it is. I'm just really attracted to blues. And I also really love gray nail polish. And so this one kind of has that like grayish tone to it while still being kind of a dustier blue. So I just really like this one. It's kind of a weakness of mine, so I have a lot of blues that are in this similar like color family. Up next we have Beatrix. Now this is a Pixie Dust by Zoya. If you're not familiar with the Pixie Dust formula, it's a really it's like a finer milled glitter, but it is chunky. Like it's like when you touch it, let me touch it on the swatch wheel. It kind of feels like a sandpapery texture in a way that I've not had from any other kind of glittery polish. It feels like almost like sugar, you know, like sugar or salt. It's got that kind of a grittiness. And I was watching a Cork Manicure's video the other day, and she said something that I was like, yeah, that's absolutely true. She said, you either really want to wear a pixie dust or you don't. And I feel that. That's like, pixie dust is a mood, because these are great. They look beautiful. They stay on really well, but they stay on really well. So be prepared to scrub these off if you're not wearing a peel-off base coat. I like pixie dust because if I'm going somewhere where I don't have time to paint my nails a bunch, they're gonna stay on. These are cement for your nails. So if I'm like, I'm gonna be gone for a few days, I don't want to deal with chipping, and I don't want to have to like change my polish, I will wear a pixie dust because I just feel like they really are resilient. And I like this one. It's kind of like a mac and cheesy orange. I feel like I say that a lot, but it's like, I just love that kind of a tone. And, you know, I talked about it a little bit in my orange video, but orange really reminds me of my grandfather. And so I just really like this orange pixie dust. I think I think I have a pixie dust in every color at this point, pretty much. Next we have Giovanna. Now this is actually the first Zoya I really remember like being obsessed with. At that point I wasn't really buying greens. I don't know why I bought this. I don't remember why I picked it up, but it was I think it was probably the first green I bought from Zoya as well. And I really love this. I wore it quite a bit. Like the fill line, it's down to like around underneath the logo, I think. And I shook it up, so now I can't even tell. But yeah, I really liked this polish. I think it's one of the ones I've had the longest. It actually has a chip in the bottle because I think I dropped it into my Helmer on accident and it just chipped the bottom off, but the bottles are pretty, I think this is probably one of the only bottles I've ever like chipped or broken in any way. So pretty resilient. But yeah, this one I've had for a long time. I think it's a beautiful color. And I think Zoya just does a good job at greens, to be honest. Up next is this really fun, kind of peppery looking red. It's called Soko. I really like these types of reds. They're just really classic. It just, like, they remind me of candied apples, which I don't even like to eat candied apples. They're messy, but they're so pretty, right? They just look so shiny and beautiful, like these like red, hard candy shell. And I just think that this would be a fun one to like match your nails to your lips, like in that really classic kind of a way. So I really like this one. I've worn it on my toes a few times, and I just think that it looks really good against my skin tone. You know, even though like I said, I have a lot of pink, I'm also kind of fair. And so I just feel like these types of reds look really good on fair skin tones. And so I really am glad I picked this one up. Next is Dove, and this is just another gray that I'm obsessed with. It's, my fill line is a little bit right here. I really like this gray. I love grays. It's a weird color to be like, yes, I'm obsessed with gray. I don't know what it is. I think when I was a kid and up into my early 20s, I was obsessed with black. Like, I would only wear black. The fact that I'm wearing a white shirt is like insane. Like, if I went back and I told my 16-year-old self, you're gonna have white shirts in your closet one day, I would have been like, no, you're lying. Because literally, black socks, black underwear, bra, pants, shirt, shoes, hoodie, everything was black. My bags were black. I was a kid who was like, I'm gonna live in a Hot Topic one day, you know? So I think that the gray was like me easing out of that and like dipping my toe into other things. I still only wear black jeans though, so I don't know. But Yeah, I like this. It's a really nice light gray. I think this is as close to white as you'll ever see me wear. And I think I said this is called Dove. Mine came without a sticker, so I had to write it on there. But yeah, I love this color. I think it's really pretty. I think it's a color that would look good on anybody. I mean, I think that everything looks good on everybody, to be honest. I'm one of those types of people where I'm like, just wear what you want, just do what you want, girl. But like, I do think that this would genuinely look good on every skin tone. Up next is a newer one in my collection. This one is called Sean. This is another swampy green. Now, I literally just bought, it's called Grass Stain from Enchanted Polish, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, did I buy the exact same polish? I'm not sure. I'll have to compare them side by side, but I love this sort of a green. I think that it really works year round, like green for Christmas time, obviously, like if you celebrate, that's a perfect time for it. And just greenery in general in like the winter season, at least where I live, because nothing really grows here aside from trees in the winter. Green, like this darker green for fall, because these kind of darker colors really work. I don't know about summer. I can't justify this for summer, but like spring, you know, like the grass just starts showing through again. So there we go. And then summer because Shrek. Like that's, I guess that's my reason. My boyfriend got mad at me the other day because I said that Ogre Shrek was hotter than Human Shrek. So I kind of am in the doghouse for that one. But yeah, love a Shrek green. Up next, of course, I had to have two pixie dusts in here. This was one of the first pixie dusts I bought, and this is Alice. I really love this tone of purple, and just seeing it like in the pixie dust form, it's just really pretty. It's really just a fun, vibrant, I feel like it leans a little bit blue, I guess, and like the flash on it, it's like you can see like purple and blue and silver kind of flashing back out of the bottle. It's just a really pretty color. And like I said, you either, or like Cork Manicure said, you either really want to wear one or you don't. So lately I haven't found myself wearing these too often, but I just love this finish. It's a really great finish. If you are into glitters especially, you will love the pixie dust, so try them out if you haven't. And then last is actually a topper. Now, I don't think Zoya has too many toppers. I don't really think that that's totally their forte. I have a couple toppers from them, and most of the toppers, they just kind of are either too bland for me, or it's like I have this topper from like basically a similar topper from another brand, so it's not really bringing anything new to the game. But I do really like this one called Dallas, and I am showing it to you guys over just nothing, 2 coats over nothing, and then I just did 1 coat over black. And I really like this because I feel like you could use it a couple different ways. Now, over black, I just feel like it looks like fresh snow falling, or it's a really good like starry sky look. And so I really enjoy it. It's got silver, like fine glitter running through it, as well as small and larger white hex glitters. And it looks just really pretty, and it's not too hard to remove just because these glitters are not these huge chunky ones. There's not a lot like holding them down. So it's not as hard to remove as like a lot of toppers. And because of that finely milled glitter, it comes off really easily. So yeah, out of all the toppers I have from Zoya, this is probably like the only one where I'm like, yes, this is a really good one. The rest of them, they're fine. I just am not as intrigued by them is all. So one thing I think that Zoya really lacks is a collection of good yellow polishes. You know, they have a lot of golds, but yellow itself, like a true yellow, they don't really have much. And so that's why I didn't really include any in my favorites, because the couple that I do have, I have like B and what is it? Is it Darby or Darcy? One, I can't remember. It's either Darby or Darcy, and then the other one is blue. I think Darby is the yellow one. But I feel like they could really expand on their yellows, and I would really enjoy seeing that from them. And Essie too, just to throw them under the bus as well. It's just like, I feel like they don't do as much yellow polish, and I really like a good yellow, so I hope to see more of that. And the other complaint that I have, which I think I've complained about before, is how come they haven't made my name into a polish yet? Like, I look at these polishes and I'm just like, you know, they have a pretty good spectrum of like really common names like Alice. You know, I feel like that's not an unusual name. And like, what else do we have here? Like Jill. Jill is a pretty common name to have. And then on the other end of the spectrum, they have like more uncommon names. Like Eunice isn't really a popular name in the U.S. anymore. Um, Giovanna, like, and Beatrix, and things like that. Those are on the more uncommon or like less used end of the spectrum. And I just feel like, where does my name sit in all this? You know, I've met 3 Hillarys in my entire life that aren't me, and they all spelled it differently than me. So, I don't know. I feel like, Zoya, come on, dude, make my name into a nail polish. I will buy it. I don't care what color it is. I don't care how ugly it is. Just, you can even spell it with 1 L. I will forgive you for that, since nobody seems to be able to spell my name. Just please release a Hillary polish. I feel like the problem with my name is that it can be considered a little bit divisive because a certain political figure has my name as well. And like, I get a lot of people, when I introduce myself, I'll tell them my name and they get mad at me. And I'm like, I didn't name myself. But anyways, yeah, I do really love Zoya. I haven't purchased from them since the price increase just because it is a little bit steeper. It was quite literally a 20% increase to their base price. But I'm not saying I will never purchase from them again. It's just right now I'm trying to focus more on brands that I have wanted to try but just never have. And so recently I did like Polish Pickup, and I'm excited for those to come in. I think it's all brands I've never purchased from before. I'm trying to expand my interest in indies and my collection of indies, so I'm trying to avoid mainstream polishes, although I did just buy a few Orleys. But either way, let me know down below, what are your favorite Zoyas? And also just let me know, do they have a polish that has your name? Am I like the only one who's like pining after this? Let me know down in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.